Indianapolis Colts cornerback Kenny Moore II has returned. He will be out there on Sunday for the Indianapolis Colts against the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Colts, your daily Indianapolis Colts podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you all for making Locked On Colts your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of HorseshoeHuddle.com. My partner, Jake Arthur, is a credentialed boots on the ground for Round Table Sports. We're going to bring you our typical Friday action here, guys. We're going to talk all about the latest injury report, news and notes from both teams, or at least from the Colts. We still don't have that Chargers injury report as of recording this. We'll give you guys an update on all channels later today when the Chargers do officially announce that injury report, because they're on West Coast time. They operate at a different time than we do. We're also going to preview the Colts offense, the Colts defense, and then give our final predictions of the week before this big matchup with the Los Angeles Chargers, a chance to solidify themselves as the number one team in the AFC for at least another week here. At least the Colts have that potential this week. But going into some news and notes, wide receiver Josh Downs, wide receiver Ashton Dulin, and cornerback Charvarius Ward are all ruled out this week with injuries. Downs and Ward are both dealing with a concussion. Ashton Dulin was a chest injury. He didn't even touch the practice field this week, so we'll see if the Colts can get any of these guys up for next week. But the good news, Kenny Moore II, the slot corner, star slot corner for the Colts, who has been out for, I think, like a month now at this point. It's been like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, he got injured week 3.
Yeah, so he's been out for a good bit here. He will be returning to the field this weekend. He's listed as questionable officially, but it seems like it's all good to go. He's going to be out there. And then running back Tyler Goodson, he's listed as questionable. Maybe a little bit more up in the air with him, but the Colts might get him back to action this week as well. So, losing Downs, losing Dulin, those are pretty big losses for the Colts. Charvarius Ward, we don't even have to go into how big a loss that one is.
Yeah.
But getting a little healthier, at least with Kenny and Tyler Goodson, is a little bit of a boost that we didn't expect here.
Yeah. When you look at the Chargers, for me, I obviously Justin Herbert, but then I look at the receivers. That's a deep group. Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey. If Quentin Johnston is able to get back out there, I know he was out last week, but then Trey Harris, the rookie, those are all guys that do more than just like their niche necessarily. They're like, they impact the game in a lot of ways, especially Johnston, who's really finally starting to break out. You got, again, Trey Harris, the rookie. He is one of those peripheral guys that does a lot of the little things right, blocks very well. He's kind of a tenacious player. So you hate to have Charvarius Ward out against anyone, you know what I mean? But especially a group with a quarterback like this and a group of pass catchers like this, that's a tough one. But with Kenny Moore out there, that's good. You kind of fight fire with fire a little bit. Kenny's strength isn't his athleticism or what he does physically anyways. It's in his mind. So that definitely helps to have him out there for whatever his role is. Like, he's been out for a while, so logic says he's probably not playing 60, 65 snaps. So whatever that role is, that's certainly good. Downs and Dulin is where it gets super interesting, because that obviously forces the Colts hand, makes A.D. Mitchell active. But does Anthony Gould finally get some run? Because I think he's only got like a dozen offensive snaps so far. You're going to have to call a receiver up. So it could be Laquan Treadwell if you're looking to kind of get a guy who could play some special teams, but also back things up on the boundary if that's what you're looking for. I would imagine it's probably closer to Treadwell than it would be like Coleman Owen. We love Coleman Owen, great story. But Treadwell is a guy they've trusted in the past to kind of fill in the gaps there.
Yeah, Coleman Owen's more if you need very much just a special teamer. Like if Anthony Gould were to go down, it would be Coleman Owen coming up.
Yeah, because Owen can return punts too, so very specialized.
Right. Laquan Treadwell, I think, is kind of your Ashton Dulin replacement, where he might get some run on offense just in terms of being like a blocking wide receiver in tight, doing some RPO type stuff just because he knows how to get to his landmarks and such. So, it'll probably be Treadwell coming up. You'll have Treadwell with Pittman and Alec Pierce. And then we'll just see how many snaps it comes down to with A.D. Mitchell and Anthony Gould there in the slot. Like, do they give them to Gould? Like, is Mitchell still in the doghouse? Probably at this point. But is he enough in the doghouse to where Gould gets every snap over him? will be the real question here. I think we're going to see a lot of Anthony Gould on offense, though, for the first time. He's just makes more sense, I think, in the slot than A.D. Mitchell does. But let's kind of segue this, Jake, into our overall talk on the Colts offense. Losing Josh Downs is a vital piece of this puzzle for the Colts. When everyone is so specialized and you spread the ball so much with what the Colts do, Downs is their third down converter. He's their guy who, he's probably a difference between scoring high 20s and then the 30s that they've scored every single week, because he converts those key third downs, keeps the chains moving, and he even saw he caught a touchdown last week as well. So having no Josh Downs does hurt the process a little bit for the Colts, but overall, I think you and I are both liking this matchup for the Colts offense, especially with the Chargers defense that has really, really struggled in recent weeks, particularly against the run. Now the Colts or the NFL's leading rushers coming to town in Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, this immediately looks like a huge opportunity for Jonathan Taylor to me. They do some interesting things. They have Derwin James close to the line of scrimmage quite a bit, but he has been pretty guilty of missing tackles. You see him diving at ankles and stuff, and just, I don't know if it's taking bad angles, but just not completing the process of getting to the ball necessarily. And so Jonathan already leads the league, I think, in forced missed tackles. You've got him going up against a team that is near the bottom in allowing missed tackles, and then they allow 5 yards per carry. They're near the bottom already in yards per game against the run. So the obvious mode of attack is Jonathan Taylor here, but we've kind of seen that before where Shane Steichen knows that, but at the same time, you can do some things through the air as well. Tua had some success against them last week, even without Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle had a nice little game there. So there's some opportunities there. I do wonder if in the passing game, they're going to be focusing more on the intermediate and downfield stuff without Josh Downs, because I do think this defense, it's just they don't do a ton of different things in coverage, and you see some opportunities for some big plays. The Colts love corner routes. At least they've had a lot of success with them during the summer, at least from what I could tell. It hasn't been an enormous part of the offense yet, but I think you could have some successes there against this Chargers defense. So I don't want to downgrade their defense that much, but I thought I was going to be more impressed than when I watched them earlier.
Yeah, and I think that when you have a defense that struggles to tackle, the number one thing that tells me is they're an undisciplined defense, which I think is a big part of why they've had their struggles in recent weeks, why games have kind of fallen apart for their defense a lot, where they started well against Washington and it just kind of corroded with a lot of big runs and RPOs and play actions, just killing them in the second half of that game. And then Miami, one of the teams that runs a lot of RPOs, a lot of quick play actions where they're throwing to spots, really tore this defense apart last week in a big way. Despite that offense being pretty poor, I think a lot of it just comes down to they're not that disciplined. They struggle on the edges in terms of defending the run and containing runs. And I think that leaves this defense very susceptible to bootlegs, to long play actions, outside zone play actions. And then obviously when you're not play action, you're running off the tackles. I think this defense has really, really struggled in recent weeks. So I think for the Colts, that bodes well, because what have they been really good at recently is running off the tackle, running to the outside with Jonathan Taylor, and then building their offense around the play action. They lead the NFL with a 65% run or play action rate, or not play action rates, action rate or something is what Ben Fennell calls it. Run action rate. That's what it is. Okay. Run action, runs or play actions. They're at a 65% rate right now. So most of their calls are either play action or run plays. And that's a very beneficial offense going against a defense like this that is fairly undisciplined, struggles to tackle, gets the ball out in space to your playmakers and lets these guys go to work. So yeah, I think a lot of the Colts game plan today, this week is just going to be make the Chargers tackle us, make them have to second guess themselves, make them fit the run when we're going play action, make them second guess every run play that might be a play action, make everything look the same, and just kind of feed into their undisciplined nature. I said this on the crossover yesterday, but the number one thing that beats the Chargers on Sundays is the Chargers. The Chargers are their number one enemy every single week. They always have random games where they just kind of shoot themselves in the foot. And I think as an offense that is just kind of clicking like the Colts have this week, The key is just don't shoot yourself in the foot. Let them make the mistakes. Lean into their undisciplined style. Use a lot of play action. Run the ball really well. And I think they can put up 30-plus points in this game easily.
Yeah, same here. And again, you hate to not have Josh Downs, especially a guy that creates a lot of his own yards like that, makes a lot of guys miss. But Michael Pittman Jr. and Tyler Warren are more than capable of fighting for extra yards after the catch as well. So as long as you don't have Derwin James get like a kill shot on anyone like we know he can do, get him over aggressive, over pursuing, I think the Colts are going to wind up with a lot of hidden yards there as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I think real quick, I think one of our comment section actually just said that. I think Michael Pittman Jr. and Tyler Warren are the two guys that you want to get that ball to. Like your bruisers after the catch, you want to just beat down on this defense with your bruisers. Those are your two bruisers. And then once you wear a defense down with those guys in the passing game, it's the Jonathan Taylor show after that. So I think that's the good plan of attack here for the Colts, especially off of, again, play action and RPO type stuff. I think it can work really well for them. But yeah, coming up, guys, we're going to go to the Colts defense, a little bit more dire straits than the Colts offense right now. We're going to talk about how they can have success against Justin Herbert in this Los Angeles Chargers offense. But first, this show is sponsored by Betterhelp. October 10th was World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you, therapists. Life can be tough on and off the field, and behind millions of mental health journeys are therapists who showed up, listened, and helped people take a step forward. Betterhelp is shining the spotlight on those connections while also making it simple for you to find support wherever you need it. Therapy moments can be life-changing, whether it's learning to better connect with your kids, healing a relationship, or finding healthy ways to manage stress. I know that when something's weighing on me, just talking it through can bring a lot of clarity and relief. I've been to therapy multiple times in my life, and it has helped just kind of center me and bring me back to where I need to be. So this World Mental Health Day, join us in celebrating the therapists who have helped millions take a step forward. If you're ready to start your own journey, BetterHelp can help you find the right therapist. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon.
And this episode is also presented by PrizePicks. Every day we make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Playing PrizePicks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Daniel Jones passing yards or Jonathan Taylor rushing for a touchdown, and you are in the game. I personally love how quick it is. You could just make your lineup in under a minute. My favorite part of it, though, is that PrizePicks just added the stacks feature. So that means if you want to ride with a player, you can select their passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. You don't have to take bits and pieces. You could throw it all together in one player, which didn't always used to be able to do. Plus, the new injury reboot feature means that if your player leaves early and doesn't return, it won't count against you. We know that in betting, life is not fair, and PrizePicks gives you a little bit of cushion there. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, welcome back, everydayers. We are talking Colts and Chargers this Sunday at 4:05 on Fox out there at SoFi Stadium. So again, just to kind of bring this back injury-wise, Kenny Moore is back. We'll see what his workload looks like. Charvarius Ward is still out. So that means cornerback-wise, you're probably looking at, Mekhi Blackman and Jonathan Edwards still on the outside. And then probably some mixture of Kenny Moore and Chris Lamons at corner there in the slot. They may call up Mitchell as well, who they did last week. So we'll see what they do there. But yeah, again, starting with this passing game, you got to start up front. The O-line is not great. Now, to their credit, it's very, very banged up. We're still waiting to see if Joe Alt is going to play because that's a huge deal. Obviously, Rashawn Slater is out for the year, so just right away they were kind of behind the eight ball there. They've only got one game this year with a positive grade as a group in pass protection, according to PFF. So that just kind of goes to show you watch a game and Herbert is under duress pretty commonly, but he's very good at moving through the pocket, getting outside, and then even when he's wrapped up, Like, he is capable of getting rid of the ball until his butt is literally on the ground. So
Yeah.
he is someone you have to see the entire playthrough. Scary part of that for me is the Colts getting sacks and finishing sacks. It's not exactly their strong suit. A lot of quarterbacks are able to slip through those guys. So I have no doubt that the Colts can get to Herbert, but he's like Ben Roethlisberger when it comes to escaping sacks. So, like, you have got to finish the play. Again, not the Colts' strong suit this year.
Yeah, if Ben Roethlisberger was a little bit faster as well. Roethlisberger runs like
and
you
skinnier
and me out there.
And a better person. Yeah, like, we get it all. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert's the second best quarterback the Colts are going to face or have faced this year behind Matthew Stafford.
Don't say that to Zaire Franklin. Not top 5.
No, not top. Well, I mean, that's still probably the second best quarterback they faced this year. I mean, what's the next closest? Jacoby or Geno Smith, I guess.
A lot of love for Jacoby in that building.
Yeah, Bo Nix, I guess, would be your next one. But yeah, I think Justin Herbert's a new challenge for this defense, a defense that definitely struggled last week against Jacoby Brissett. And the Joe Alt injury status is going to be massive for this one because it's the difference between having one major liability at offensive tackle plus, I mean, look, Joe Alt without legs is probably better than the guys they've been rolling out at offensive tackle. But if they can get Alt back, that does help them quite a bit. But if Joe Alt doesn't play this week, then it's Bobby Hart and Austin Deculus, who were cast-offs from the Texans and the Bengals offensive lines, who are two of the worst offensive lines in football. And you really got to take advantage as a defensive line. As Jake said, I mean, you just got to get bodies on Herbert, knock him down a couple times, and really get into his head. He's a great quarterback, really great quarterback. I think the key for the Colts, though, is just, again, make the Chargers make the mistakes. It's hard when you're the road team because typically the road team is more penalized than the home team, and they have more of the procedural penalties. But for the Colts, I think you got to lean into the bend, don't break status of this defense. And I'm not saying Gus Bradley it, guys. I'm not saying drop back into cover 3 all game long and sit back. Like, you guys still have chances and take your opportunities to make splash plays. Like, if they're in a condensed formation, blitz the backside of the condensed formation. If they're going to be under center, again, get Nick Cross and Kenny Moore involved coming off the edge to try to get some disruption plays in there. But I think for the most part, I think you want to sit back, make the Chargers be perfect. Because what we've seen with this Chargers team this year, they tack on a lot of yards. They run the ball fairly well. They throw the ball fairly well. They're a top 5 offense in yards, 21 points per game on offense. They are a really bad red zone offense this season. They have a lot of turnovers on that side of the ball. So make them just have to make all the play. Like, again, if you have them have to go 80 plays against you, right? That means they're controlling the ball, but they're not going to be perfect for 80 plays. They're going to have penalties. They're going to have turnovers. They're going to have mistakes that set them back and keep points off the board. So look, in a perfect world, you shut down Herbert, you hold him to 10 yards passing, and we're celebrating a 50-point victory. But we don't live in a perfect world here. We know who we're rolling out here at corner, and we know the situation with this defense. I think the key really is when you have those opportunities for splash plays, make the most of them, get the ball back for the offense, and let the offense go to work. But make the Chargers have to be methodical. Make the Chargers have to go 10-plus plays on you if they want to score. Don't make it easy on them. Don't fall down in press man coverage. Don't have a DPI that's 50 yards down the field. Make them have to chug along down the field because this Chargers offense, despite being pretty good, despite all the injuries, they make mistakes. Quentin Johnston's had a couple fumbles this year. Herbert throws some picks. They have a negative turnover differential despite being one of the better teams in the AFC. Make them make the mistakes. Don't give them freebies by giving them long touchdowns and explosive plays. Make them have to methodically go up and down the field. They'll make the mistakes. That's how they only scored 10 points against a really bad Commanders defense a couple weeks ago. That's kind of the recipe for this offense. Just make them have to be perfect because odds are Austin Deculus can't be perfect for 80 plays in a game, or Bobby Hart can't be perfect, and then take advantage of those splash plays when they're there.
Yeah, without question. I've not heard of Calculator or whoever you just said that offensive tackle is, but Bobby Hart, Deculus. I know throughout. Yeah, I know Bobby Hart has not been good throughout his career. Also has some very odd worldviews that we won't get into. But yeah, I'm going to shift to the run game here real quick. Now, they ran the ball on Miami, but that was Miami, who was the worst run defense in the league. There were wide open spaces for them to run through, but they pick up what's there. Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal, they do not really create their own yards. They're not really explosive runners. So I think as long as you're fitting the run well, you're where you're supposed to be, and you're getting off of blocks, you're going to be able to kind of make that offense one-dimensional. And like you mentioned, the more you're passing, the more opportunity there is for mistakes, the more opportunity there is for you to put pressure on Herbert. And again, he's a guy who it's just in his DNA to wait. Like, he will string it out until the very last second to get rid of that ball because he can. He's big and physical, but at the same time, that kind of creates errant throws and more opportunities for interceptions for guys like Cam Bynum to be back there in the secondary. So I do like how this matches up for the Colts. They haven't been great against the run throughout the year, but I do think, if Zaire Franklin and Jermaine Pratt are going to team up and do something well, it's probably going to be defend the run.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the key to this week is just whenever you get those couple opportunities for splash plays, make the most of them, make them happen. If you have Herbert lined up, get him on the ground. If he throws a ball that gets knocked up in the air, come away with the interception, and then stand tall in the red zone. I don't care if they finish this game with 700 yards on offense. If they're forcing in the field goals every time in the red zone, you're going to win this game. You have too good of an offense on the other side of the ball with the Colts offense right now. I don't care how many yards an opposing team puts up on you. I don't care how much effort they have to put in to getting to the red zone. Just don't let them in the end zone, and you'll win games with this offense on the other side of the ball. So that's going to be the key for the Colts defense. Again, just capitalize on the couple takeaway chances that you get and force field goals. I'm Cameron Dicker. He doesn't miss kicks, right? The kicker that doesn't miss kicks, one of the few ones in the history of football. Make him have to kick it 12 times on Sunday. I don't care, and the Colts will have a chance to win. So, that's going to be key. Like, again, I don't care how many yards they put up. Just hold them out of the end zone. But that'll be key for the Colts defense. But coming up, guys, we're going to give our final thoughts on this game. Do we think the Colts can emerge victorious and move to 6-1 with a firm stranglehold on first place in the AFC? More on that here in just a second. But first, Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every single model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Nappa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard and every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved.
All right, guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond just the usual pill, then it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. That's exactly what Rugiet's Go Long comes in. This isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula so that you can go the distance. And the effects can last up to 36 hours, allowing for a little bit of spontaneity there. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. The process is simple. Just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, then your treatment ships discreetly right to your door, not giving away your business. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Well, head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off of your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use our code so that they know we sent you. All right, everydayers, welcome back. We were talking Colts and Chargers. Again, that is a 4:05 kick Eastern time over on Fox. So, Zach, as often we do, as we talk through this thing, I have convinced myself even further, wrap myself even more into the cocoon that is the Colts in this one. I originally said 34-30 a win for them, which still may very well be the case. But I think the Colts defense, even without Charvarius Ward, I feel icky saying that because I hardly ever like the defense when Ward's not out there. I still think they're going to do some good things. So I'll still give the Colts 34, but maybe it's like 34-26 or 28, I do still like the Colts to go over 30 on this defense. I think Shane Steichen knows what to do against these type of defenses that aren't very exotic. Daniel Jones obviously has been a perfect, puppet for Steichen, being the puppet master of this offense in these scenarios. And then Jonathan Taylor is just an enormous advantage that the Chargers may not have an answer for. If Khalil Mack is out there, that helps them a bit, but it's not the be all end all. Like Khalil Mack is my age. We have very different physiques and strengths physically, but at the end of the day, he's an older dude.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more strength than you for sure.
Hey.
But yeah, like I feel like this is going to come back to hurt me because I'm usually pretty pessimistic on the Colts. Even during this season, I've usually been like the enemy here, the antagonist, I guess, to this Colts run at times. But I just think a lot of people are giving a little too much love to the Chargers right now, where after those first 3 games, they've been a very, very different team. They have very much struggled in recent weeks. I think that they've won 1 out of their last 3 with losses to the Giants and the Commanders. The Commanders game, they weren't even remotely close in that game. They got smacked around. Giants controlled most of that game, and then it took them kind of limping their way through Miami to win that one. So I don't think they're playing their best football right now. I still think when you go against a quarterback of Justin Herbert's caliber, there's always a chance that he just goes nuclear and it swings the entire focus of the game towards their offense. But, again, at the end of the day, the Chargers' biggest enemy are the Chargers, and they always find a way to hurt themselves. That's why, again, they're an undisciplined defense that misses a lot of tackles on offense. They struggle to score in the red zone. They haven't put up a ton of points, and they've turned the ball over a lot this year as well. So I think the ultimate key for this game is just as long as the Colts don't just take a shotgun to their foot like they did the last time they were in Los Angeles and just continually shoot their own foot over and over again and still only lose by 7 to a much better Rams team, I think this Colts team should be able to win relatively comfortably. Yes, the Colts defense is not in the greatest place right now, but neither is the Chargers offense with their tackle play and their running back play. So I think that this Colts team should be able to win this game. And it's going to be, again, a real measuring stick for them going against a Chargers team where even if I don't think the Chargers are playing great football lately, it would still be a statement win to say that you beat Justin Herbert on the road. So I think I would have the Colts like 34-24 in this game. I think the Colts are going to put up points, again, as long as they don't have the pre-snap penalties. They don't have the losses up front like they did the last time they were in LA. I think they're going to put up points pretty easily in this game. Just comes down to the Colts defense not allowing big plays and holding them to some threes in the red zone. I think that'll be the biggest keys. But yeah, I don't know. I feel weirdly confident with this game, like more confident even in this game than I did in some of the other ones where the Colts ultimately won this year. It's just this Chargers team, again, they're just a weird team. They hurt themselves so much, man. And I think for a Colts team that's like so fundamentally sound, again, outside the Rams game, this Colts team has been so good with just keeping the ball moving forward on offense, with taking the ball away, winning the turnover battle, not committing too many egregious penalties. I think this Colts team's been really good with that stuff. It's kind of like the anti that with this Chargers team, where the Chargers just get in their own way so much. So I think when you place two teams against each other like that, the fundamental team will typically win. So I feel pretty good about the Colts' chances, and I like them here on the road against the Chargers.
Really big opportunity because obviously the Steelers fell last night. They were the number 3 seed in the AFC, and I believe the Chargers are number 2. So if the Colts as the number 1 seed have the number 2 and 3 seeds fall and add another win into their win column, then you're starting to get a cushion. As much as I hate to say it, the Jaguars are sticking around, and I probably like them to win this weekend too. So you got to keep it up, because if the Jaguars overtake you for the division, that's just disgusting. Because also you go from like the 1 seed to now you're like in the wild card race. So
we have plenty of time to think about that though, Jake. We don't have to look big picture yet. We're looking at the Chargers right now, Jake. Okay, like calm down about the Jaguars until the second half of the year when we go at Jacksonville. That's when we can start getting nervous again, for sure.
Boy. Yeah, but no, again, this stretch, this again starts a really critical stretch, because again, after this, you've got Tennessee, which should be a win, and then you have those Steelers. So yeah, these, if you can bank these next 3 wins, they're all conference games. 2 of the 3 are against teams you're directly competing with position for. So these are super, super important.
So what do we have as our random predictions of the week here, Jake? We used to do pretty decent on that. What did we have last week? I think we missed.
I said big man touchdown.
Yeah, I had Tyler Warren going for pretty big day in week 1 in that last week.
He led them in receiving, I think.
Yeah, he led. I had more of like a 100-yard game, but like it looked like he was going that way early in that one.
So let's say Anthony Gould goes for 75 plus.
Dang. Okay.
So
That'd be
like
fun.
throughout the summer, we've seen they've used him more as a traditional slot. But when he got to the Colts, and he even showed this still this summer, he's a downfield threat. That's like his biggest asset. Like he's a return man, so he can like make guys miss and pick up some yardage. But like at his core, his most dangerous is as a downfield threat. And so the Colts could have two of those out there with Pierce and Gould, and the defense is going to be paying attention to Alec Pierce. Yeah. So you could get one-on-one. You should get one-on-one opportunities for Gould to just beat his man and get deep, because it's not like they necessarily play a bunch of shell coverage or anything like that. Like I think the opportunities could be there for Gould to at least pop one or two bigger ones.
Yeah, I like that one. I was actually going to go back and say Colts go back to their old days of no more punting, and we don't see a punt from this Colts team on Sunday. Defensively for the Colts, oh man, what should we go with for this? I mean, the easy one is like a Latu like 2-sack game or something, because he did that the last time they played LA, and the last LA team had a rough offensive line as well. So you would think maybe against an Austin Deculus and Bobby Hart, if those are your two tackles, we see a little bit better from Latu. I want to go and say this Colts defense has struggled to force fumbles this year. They haven't really forced many fumbles. I'm going to say they forced 2 fumbles on Sunday. I don't know if they're going to recover both of them, but we'll say that they forced 2 fumbles on Sunday.
Hey, the Chargers will cough it up. I mean, their rookie tight end, Rondé Gadsden the second, one of your draft darlings, he coughed it up a little bit last week. So, I mean, they got guys who are kind of generous out there.
It's the Chargers, man. They hurt themselves. So I know if there's any Chargers fan that watches this or whatever, even if they're disagreeing completely with our takeaways, I know they're going to be sitting there being like, you know what? He is right about that at least. Like they always Charger, that's just what they do. But you guys let us know your predictions in the comment section. We'll see you guys back here around 8:30 or so, 8 o'clock on Sunday to break down all the action. Hopefully another Colts victory if it goes the way Jake and I are expecting. But again, you guys let us know in the comment section below. And thank you guys for making Locked On Colts your first listen today and every single day. The NFL season is here, so for your next listen, get a double dose of the Locked On NFL podcast. Tyler the Madman Rowland gives you a shot of NFL espresso to start your day, while Tony Wiggins takes you into the barbershop for the smoothest breakdowns to end your day. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. You guys want to become a Locked On Colts insider and chat with us directly and get that insider scoop. Follow the link in our show notes. And if you don't already, make sure you're following at Locked On Colts, at Jake Arthur NFL, and at ZachHicks2, all on socials. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We love your guys' ratings and reviews, and we'll catch you guys back here on Sunday for the Colts Squad Show.